Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Now today we're going to be looking at the factorization method of solving quadratic equations. A video I made earlier prompted me to go into details into this topic because I wanted to clarify more on factorization method because I used this method in that video. So I wanted us to establish a basis for that particular video. So let's look at how to solve quadratic equations using the factorization method. Now I want you to know that you can't use this method for all quadratic equations, but you can use the formula method which I taught in that previous video. You can't use factorization to solve every type of quadratic equation. There are exceptions. You can't employ this method for every quadratic equation question that's given to you, but it's important for you to learn it and know it so that you can express quadratic equations in factors. So let's go ahead and solve this. All right, this here is the general form of a quadratic equation. Usually a quadratic equation is in this form. The greatest power of the unknown is usually 2. That makes it a quadratic equation. So if the power here is 3 or less than 2, it's not a quadratic equation. All right, now let's take an example. Let's say x squared plus 9x plus 14 equals to 0. Now let's factorize this. Let's use factorization method to solve this equation. When we are solving a quadratic equation, looking for the roots of the quadratic equation, and because it's a quadratic equation, we're expected to find two roots to this equation. That is, what are the two values of x that will satisfy this equation? That's what we're looking for now. So let's go ahead and solve. All right, the first step is to first of all, if the coefficient of your x squared is unity like this is, then just go right ahead and find out the factors of 14 such that you're looking for factors of 9 and 14 such that if you multiply those two factors, you get 14, and if you add them, you get 9. So what two numbers do you add up to get 9 and you multiply and get 14? And the easiest way to do it is to find the factors of 14, which is the number you're getting the product of. So find the factors of 14, and the factors of 14 include, we have 7 and 2. So these are the only factors of 14. So if you multiply 2 times 7 will give you 14, okay, and 2 plus 7 will give you 9. Bear in mind you're looking at the positive values of the factors, that is positive 2, positive 7. Okay, we're not looking at the negative because there's no negative value here, so we are considering only the positive factors of 14. So these are the factors we're going to make use of: plus 2 and plus 7. Now in this case, you're going to replace the coefficient of x here with the two factors so that you have x squared plus 2x plus 7x. So you're going to split this into the factors that we already got, replacing this by essentially by those factors. Plus 14 equals 0. I hope you are following up to this point. Step 1 is to find the factors of 14 so that those two factors, if you multiply them, they give you 14, and if you add them, they'll give you 9. And when you get it, replace this term here with those two factors like this, so that you can put them in factors essentially. So you're going to put a bracket here and you put a bracket here because we want to factorize out x. We want to bring x out of the mix, at least one x out of the mix. Here, what's common here? What's common here is x. X is here, x is here. So factorizing out x here will mean that you are left with 1x here plus 2 here. It's like saying x squared divided by x. This x will cancel out the square, which is x times x divided by x. So x will cancel out x and you're left with 1x. And 2x divided by x, you're left with 2. All right, that's what we're doing. So factorizing out means dividing. All right, so you're left with 2 here. What's common between 7x and 14? 7 is common here. So you're going to have 7 into x plus 2. And this is going to give you 0. All right. Okay. Now we see that what's in this bracket is essentially what's in this bracket. I hope we're all following. What's here is what's here. That's what you want. If you have different values and then there's a mistake somewhere, you must have made a mistake in your factorization. Okay, you must have exactly the same thing in this bracket and in this bracket. So what do we do next? We're going to combine these two and pick one of the brackets since they are duplicates. So we have that this x plus 7, okay, and x plus 2. We pick 1. This is equal to 0. Now we equate each of these factors to 0. All right, because this is multiplying this. So we're essentially saying that one of them has to be equal to 0. Either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. But one of them has to be 0 for our answer to be 0. It's like saying 2 times what will give you 0. Obviously, the answer is 0. So one of these must be equal to 0 for this to be 0. So we're going to find out which one. So we're going to equate this to 0 and equate this to 0. So that we have x plus 7 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. Let me change this marker. I need to buy new markers. All right. X plus 7 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. Okay. So this is a linear equation. This is very easy to do. What do you add to x to get 0? So x is equal to minus 7, and for here x is equal to minus 2. So these are the roots of the equation. So x is equal to minus 7 or minus 2. These are the values that you fix into this equation and you get 0. These are the two values you're going to fix into this equation and you get 0. So these are the roots of your quadratic equation. I hope that is clear. Let's take one more example where the coefficient of your x squared is not unity, so you can solve different types of equations given to you. Let's get an example right away. We have 2a squared plus 7a minus 15 equals 0. Now we have this equation where the coefficient of your a squared is not unity. What do we do in this case? We're going to multiply the coefficient of a squared by our c, which is what we're going to now use to find our factors. So on the side, you do 2 times minus 15. That will give you minus 30. Now, we're looking for the factors of 30 such that if you multiply two factors of 30, so that if you multiply them, you get minus 30. And if you add, you get 7. So let's find out factors of 30. Factors of 30 will include 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. So what two combinations are you going to use to get 30, or in this case minus 30? So looking at this, 10 times 3 will obviously give us 30. It's only two combinations here that will give 30. So we have 10, 3. Now we're looking for negative 30. So it's either 10 is negative or 3 is negative. So it's either this or this. Now, to verify which one is actually the factors that will work, see which one of them, if you add, you get 7. Okay, so you have minus 10 plus 3. Remember our lesson on directed numbers. So you have minus 10 plus 3. Minus 10 plus 3 is going to give you a negative number. Obviously, our 7 here is positive, so that will not work. Then you have 10 minus 3. 10 minus 3 is going to give you 7. So this is the factor we're going to use, set of factors we're going to use. So we're going to replace this 7a with 10a and minus 3a. So let's go ahead and do just that. So 2a squared plus 10a minus 3a minus 15 is equal to 0. Now you can be wondering, why am I putting 10 first? Why not put minus 3 first? It doesn't matter which one comes first. As long as your signs are tallying with the factors you have there, you get the same answer. So we're going to solve this with 10 coming first and then with minus 3 coming first and see if we get the same answer. All right, let's go ahead and group them in pairs. Let's pair them up. Then let's factorize what is common. Here we have 2 is common here and a is common here. So we're going to factorize that 2a. So 2 into 2a into What's left here is a plus, if you factorize 2 from 10, you are left with 5. And remember a, so it's basically divided. 10a divided by 2a, a cancels a, we have 5 left. So 5 here, minus, what's common here is 3. 3 can divide 3a, 3 can also divide 15. So we have 3 here into, now remember we are having minus 3. It's very important for you to take note of the signs. Now let's watch and see what's going to happen. We are factorizing 3 out of this equation. So if you bring out 3 here, you're left with a. Okay. Now what's left here is 5. 5 is left here. Your sign changes. Because of this minus sign that is here, your sign here has to change to plus. Why? Why does it have to change? The reason the sign has to change is because if you expand this, if you open up the brackets, if this is still minus, okay, you have minus 3 times minus 3, that will give you plus. And what we have here is minus, okay. So your sign has to change so that if you multiply the signs here, you get your original sign there. Always take note when you're dealing with subtraction, especially when there's the subtraction sign in between the two your two pairs. Always take note of it. Once there's a minus sign here, you know that this sign here might be affected. If it's negative, it's going to be affected, obviously. So we're going to change our sign to plus, so that if we reverse this, 3 times minus 3 times a will give you minus 3a plus minus 3 times 5, because when we factorize this out, we have 5 here. This will give us, okay, and this is equal to 0. Again, let me reinforce the point I made before. The reason this sign is changes is because of the negative sign here. Because if you undo what you did, this can be undone. This factorization we did here can be undone. We can expand this bracket back. We can expand it back so it becomes in this form. So if you expand this back, minus 3 times a will give you minus 3a, minus 3 times plus 5 will give you minus 15. But if you were to carry down this sign, which is minus sign here, and leave it as minus sign, by the time you multiply, it goes to plus, which is not the original sign as before. So here becomes plus. Here becomes plus, so that this makes sense. All right, now let us collect. We're going to collect one because these two are identical. Again, for you to know whether you're making a mistake, if these two brackets are different, you must have made a mistake somewhere. They must be identical. They must be identical. There's no way around it. If they are not identical, then trace your steps, see where you made the mistake. So we're going to pick one. I'm going to pick this. This and this are together. So we have 2a minus 3, 2a minus 3 into a plus 5, and all of this will give you 0. All this is equal to 0, meaning that this is either equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. One of them has to be 0 for the answer to be 0. So we're going to equate this to 0 and we're going to equate this to 0 so we can find out our answer. So we have 2a minus 3 is equal to 0. Then we have a plus 5 is equal to 0. Now let's solve this. This is a linear equation. 2a is equal to 3. When you move minus 3 over the equality sign, becomes plus 3. Now you have 2a. We want a to be alone. That's the essence of what we are doing. We want a to be alone. So how do we get a to be alone? Divide both sides by the coefficient of a, which is 2. So we're going to divide this by 2. So a is equal to 3 over 2, or 1 whole number 1 over 2. And in this case, a is equal to minus 5. So the root of our equation is 3 over 2 or minus 5. These are the two values that when inserted into this equation, it will give you 0. I hope this clears things up for you when it comes to factorization. Please, if you have any questions, if you are confused at any point, please let me know in the comment section. Like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed, because I have much more in store for you. See you in my next video.